Defer to
What are we gonna do?
Kendall.
Josh gets the, oh man, that just made you the old man in the room, Josh.
Exactly what I thought.
That's exactly what that means. They didn't say Mark, they said you. And obviously you deferred him, so you would want to call him the old man.
Well, he's earned it. He's earned it.
And he got the longest drive.
It is.
That's a fair point. I'll call it that.
Depends on traffic.
Ooh.
No, I disagree. Matthew Bergeron, Chris Lindstrom, updates?
As far as injuries, Matthew, that'll be a week-to-week deal. Chris is day-to-day. Feel really good about Chris on his potential. Matthew will be more week-to-week. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, doesn't look good for this week, but you never know how these things go, how medical things go. I'm not a doctor, but I don't like to lead you guys on to something that's not going to happen.
The floor is open.
There you go.
With Bergeron, he got carted off initially, but then he was back on the sidelines like pretty soon after. It looked like he was trying to work it out, shake it out to see if it was okay, but he just never was able to come back.
Yeah, just like you would expect. Like all these guys, you get hurt in this game, and everybody tries to come back and tries to stay out there, and then sometimes you got to step in and make those decisions for him. Obviously, he wanted to go try. He gave us a great valiant attempt, but he wasn't able to do it, and we had to leave him out that game. Hinton went in, performed well for us, so it was.
Will it be Hinton most likely?
Yeah, and if Burge can't go, Hinton's always been the next man up. He's been that next man up mentality for us for a while. He started and played in a couple of games for us here within the same system, been around for a while. It's the reasons you sign those kind of guys, because you got so much trust and belief in those guys to go out there and get it done when you need to get it done. So, more than likely we'll be out there with Hinton.
He went to high school in Germany.
Did not know that.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, right?
You learn something about your team every day. That is absolutely outstanding. Did not know that about Hinton.
What was it about Andrew Struber that made y'all want to bring him back from maybe last year to now?
Stu was one of those guys that we initially put in our practice squad. Got poached off our practice squad, so we had a lot of affection for, a lot of love. We always talk about those practice squad guys as being potential guys that are on the roster anyway, and guys that we can move up. So when this opportunity presented itself and a chance to go back and get a guy that you're familiar with, that's familiar with the system, familiar with the culture of that room, the guys, all of that type of stuff, the player, all those things came as a factor. So being able to go get Stuber to come back here and give us a little bit of relief for whatever amount of time that we need and whatever he can do for us is always awesome.
Can you talk about the Parker Romo decision and bringing in Zane?
Zane and those guys, they competed the first time when this first happened. I forget, like week 2. When they went out there to compete, it was a very tight battle. Zane was the elder statesman and Parker was the younger statesman. We went with the younger statesman. Gave him a great opportunity, and Parker gave us a bunch of really good kicks. We missed a kick the other day, and we can't miss those kicks. And we just got to find a way to be more consistent and get some operational peace. So we just chose to go with Zane and give him an opportunity to see if he can come in and give us a little more operational peace when it comes to kicking and all the things that goes into that.
Did Ben Sauls get a look at that opportunity, or how did that go?
Ben Sauls was here with us the last couple of weeks, competing at a high level for us, doing a nice job. So we brought him in again as another young kicker. That was a part of that whole process that we went through. He kicked in practice, wasn't as consistent as it was with Zane. We saw him in the opportunities that he saw him go in. The experience that Zane brings in from his time with Washington and some of the other spots that he was able to go to out in San Fran, doing some of the different things that he's done. So, bringing him back, giving him an opportunity this week is something that we look forward to.
Are you considering a change at long snapper too, or is that more?
No, that's a complete personal thing. Be honest, Josh, I really didn't want to talk about it. I had to go see him really quickly because I thought it might come up. He has a pregnancy that's going on. Obviously, there's some difficulties that's happening with it. We just don't know if we're going to miss something, and we're protecting our team. So, and we're protecting him and his family and his personal status. That's all I really want to say about it. But it was strictly done out of an abundance of caution to respect our long snapper and his wife's privacy and all things. And obviously, we got to be as public as that. I hate even talking about that, but. I definitely checked with my guy first before I came up to talk to you guys.
He's with you.
Nothing to do.
Now.
Yeah, he's with us. He's with us. This is something that we're anticipating potentially coming and planning ahead, but something I don't even want to talk about. But I knew somebody would ask, and I had to. Well, David Bassett finally did his job, guys. But I ran and caught up to Liam and just kind of, kind of got to check with him. Him and Ashley, we wish nothing but the best, and we know things are gonna be fine, but just to make sure that we're good and all those type of things.
What would you say worked well on defense in the second half compared to the first half on Sunday? Because I think you held them just 3 points in the second half.
They had a nice beat. They did some really good things in the first half. They made some big plays. Obviously they hit a big play down the sideline in that fringe area where you make those big plays, and got a play on us on the sideline on a big-time throw by their young quarterback. They came across, made a couple big plays, across the middle of the field on some of the throws that they made, some of our man-to-man coverage and things of that nature where they would get some runaways. So they made some plays. I want to take credit from those guys. But, our guys definitely came out, made some adjustments, got us into some better situations for us, was able to get after the passer and rush the passer, got a little momentum from the two rookies at the end of the half, which definitely helped us. Being able to go out there and really lock in down on the run and do some really good things there, forcing the pass situations and put us in the better situations. Our offense woke up, got a chance to make some plays and score some touchdowns, made that game more of a legit game and a style of play that you want to go out there and play. So, all of those things, combined together made it a really good football game that, we would have liked to have come out on top.
Ronnie Harrison got, I think the most reps he's gotten so far this season.
Yes.
How would you assess his performance?
Ronnie's playing really well for us. It was the steady process that we talked about last week. I think the first week we went out there and we lost Divine. We talked about playing Ronnie. We talked about playing, obviously I saw a little bit of dime, had Jordan Fuller out there. And then, obviously, 4-0 went out there and we played some really good ball with JD. But Ronnie has really earned more reps and more role, and it's been increased since he's been here. And a lot of credit to Ronnie, a man that's come here with us from training camp and really increased his role from a practice squad player to a special teams player to now, being out there with that first team defense in some situations. And, the way he's playing is going to do nothing else but increase.
Constant messaging for you, throughout some of these losses recently has been, we got to come in and fix things. What do you guys feel that you have fixed?
The one thing I want to talk about really from this last game was the resilience of the team, and I thought that was just unbelievable. Things go bad in football games, and we had things go bad, whether it be early from Carolina or things go bad early from the Miami game, whether they're injuries, whether they're whatever the case may be. Nobody really cares, right? You don't really care about those decisions and those things that you can have out there called excuses. So really what they wanted to do is go out there and play. And we did not start fast. Again, went on a 3 and out. They went right down and scored. And boom, we were able to find a way to get back into that game, be really resilient, and put ourselves back in the game. So really what I want to give them a lot of credit for is being the resilient team that they were this game. And that was a major part of some things that you got to fix, just in football in general, just in sports in general, just in life, right? You don't want to make a problem a problem if it's not a problem. Let's go out there and play our brand of football, do those things, and try to find ways to get a win. And that's the most important thing we got to do this week.
And to that point, are there things that you've seen that have been kind of habitual or consistent that you think early on were an issue and now you guys have correctly addressed them and moved on from them?
Obviously you talked about it from defense. We talked about our pass rush. That was the thing coming into the season. So you've been able to fix that problem. You've been able to get a chance to get out the quarterbacks. You've been able to have some real success from a bunch of different people. It hadn't been just this one breakout guy that just kind of finds a way. It's been a collective group and how they've rushed, how they played, how they've done some things. I watched us get better and better throughout the run process and being able to stop the run on defense, do some different things there. I watched us on offense find some real levity up front and be able to be consistent there as how we play our offensive line, especially from that, that first game of the season, being able to do it. Yes, you have a disappointing game here or there, but to watch those guys lead us and how they're supposed to lead us, I think that's been a really good thing. And then obviously the constant growth from Mike and the constant connection that you keep forming from Drake and those type of guys. And we got to get some other people involved. We know that. If we want to do what we want to do. So just got to find a way to do those things. And then really consistent part of what we've been doing on special teams has been awesome, other than the clear-cut obvious part.
I know it's a business trip for you guys, a different type, going on the road. Is there anything that you're looking forward to experiencing, when you have some free time or downtime overseas?
You'd be lying if you said no. Obviously we're going to a very important, Olympic spot, where Jesse Owens, won a gold medal, in front of Hitler. And I mean, it's just crazy to even think about that you're going to play in that same exact stadium and do some of those different things. So just to get a chance to go out to the country in Germany and be a part of this, football going global and doing the things that they talked about years ago, and being able to watch the National Football League be able to achieve these things was somewhat awesome. So I look forward to going out there. Everybody's going to be miserable, but it is what it is, man. Let's go embrace this misery and let's go enjoy it, right?
How did you come up with whatever strategy you're going to use in terms of travel and rest, and this is how we're going to try to peak on Sunday?
So I did not sit in my office and come up with it on my own, Josh. It's one of those things where you talk to as many people as you can. You try to figure out, you talk to many different coaches as you can. You talk to a bunch of different people that are part of sports science. You talk to a bunch of different people that are part of different things. And I know my sports science people, they talk to everybody, including NASA. When you talk about sleep studies, they talk about how you move, how you travel, what's the best way to do things, how you hydrate, from everything to what's the best way to travel, the best day to go. That's always going to be a disagreement on the best day to go. That's just what it is. And you got to finalize and make those decisions, so you got to put your finger on something and stamp it with something. We chose the days that we did. It was all throughout a bunch of discussions with a bunch of different people, not just in our building, outside of our building, all over the place. And we're going to figure those things out, and everybody's going to have to get used to it because it's becoming more normal.
Colts made, probably the biggest splash on the trade deadline to go out and get Sauce Gardner.
Yes.
How do you game plan for somebody who just dropped right into the lineup like that, and what does he do to elevate that defense?
Sauce is a G, right? Don't throw at the really good football player too much, right? And find ways to beat him. But that's a great job by those guys going to sign him. Sauce is a really good football player. We got a lot of familiarity in his building with him. Obviously, Brake and I were able to call him, congratulate him yesterday. He's excited. He hadn't gotten there yet, so hopefully he'll figure out and doesn't have a passport.
Raheem, to go back to one of the injuries, Storm Norton had been a full participant up until last Friday. He did not practice. Did he have a setback there, or was that rest?
Yeah, we'll kind of fill you in more there as we get more information. Obviously gather and talk to our medical people, so we'll get a feel. But it wasn't great news. It's something that I don't want to speak in all the full medical terms, so I talked to our guys about it and what we're going to do. So we'll have to figure that out.
To wanting to bring Stuber in a tackle.
For sure. Stuber does a bunch of different things for us as well. Stuber's able to play a little guard, do a little swing tackle for us, do a bunch of different things for us. So like that versatility that Storm provided us, we know we can get some of that stuff from Stuber, obviously.
What do you see from Daniel Jones, just in terms of where he was last year and in the past couple of years, and then now what he's with the highest scoring offense in the NFL?
Yeah, I can't really talk about last year. I played him a while ago at the Giants. It was very early in the season, and we played well versus Daniel Jones. I know he was a big-time runner. He can run. He can throw the ball anywhere. He can make all the throws. He was a first-round pick. We were highly critical of the pick at the time. But he's showing us right now, why that pick was made and really an importance and patience with some of these young quarterbacks, to be honest with you. I'm watching them go out there, obviously got a great compliment with the run game, what they're able to do out there. Got with the coach that he wants to be with and has a lot of confidence in him. He's throwing the ball really well. He's protecting the football. And they're winning football games. And that's the most important thing for quarterbacks in this league. So he's doing a nice job, and I'm happy for him.
Go ahead.
It's kind of the trend right now in the National Football League, right? The bounce-back quarterbacks and those guys finding their way. You want them to find a way with you and give them an opportunity to.
Jonathan Taylor having a great year. What kind of challenge does he present?
He is a monster. Jonathan's been like that since he's come out. He's I hate to say deceptively fast. You just say that just because he's big. But he is extremely fast. He gets to the edge. He can make it happen. He's got all the gas. You got to tackle him in population. You got to bring a lot of people to tackle this man. And he's one of the better running backs in our football game, if not one of the best, arguably. But he's a big challenge, and he's a lot of fun to watch.
The run game, how did you see it progress Sunday? And obviously you got another big challenge with Indy's run defense.
Yeah, our run game is it is what it is right now, right? We got to find ways to get it broken out again and get the stuff that we want to get done. We knew last week the Patriots, like we talked about right after the game, they presented a really big challenge to everybody that running the football. We knew it would be that. If we would have found a way to get a couple more of those third downs clicked off, we'd have found a way to get our run game going to the point that we wanted to get to. So we've gotten a little better there as far as how we wanted to go. It was a completely different week from the week before, from missing targets and doing some of the things that we wanted to get corrected. We got it corrected, got those things done, played with the right physicality and right intention. We just didn't get the exact results as you want. But we like the process, like everything about that, and we look forward to going out there and displaying it this week.
As you look at
right now.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Yes.
As you look at complementary football, how much do we want to outrush the other team? Part of what you.
That's a part of it, but it's more time and possession. For us, like what we've been doing throughout the course of the season is really owning time and possession. The last two games that we lost, we didn't own those things. We kind of ran up the buzzsaw versus San Fran, the Miami, and last week in New England, of those kind of guys that kind of play the similar style that you want to play when you get really good. That owning time and possession, being able to run the football, doing all those different things. I think, for example, San Fran rushed the ball 40 times, may have had a 3.3 average. Those are the kind of days you got to have when you're playing against like really good rush defenses, and that's the day they had on us. They were able to get that win, and those are the kind of days you got to have when you're playing against guys like New England. So like, it's really about the time possession, being to maintain the football, playing a little bit of soccer, not because we're going to Germany, but playing a little bit of soccer that way, keeping it away from the other team. Sorry, Mark.
Billy Bowman, where is he?
Billy Bowman, I'm fully expecting him to be out there with us today and going. I'm fully expecting some participation from him this week, so I feel really good about Billy, unless something crazy happens.
And then Zach?
Zach will be out there today. Feel good about it. You never know till you get through these practices and some of those things, but I feel really good about that.
What kind of impact have you seen from Tyler Warren and how he's utilizing that offense?
He's awesome too. I mean, a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, really close friends with James Franklin, so watched him all through college. He is a joker, so to speak. Talking about a guy that's run a bunch of zone read in college. He can run all the different routes. They utilize him in the backfield to go block. They utilize him in the backfield to run out there and run sneaky routes. He's able to, play big, play with great length, catches the ball great. He's an excellent player. He's one of those guys that everybody wants when you talk about that tight end position, and he can do those things.
Anything else?
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Rob.
you.